Hello, and welcome to my Cozy Christmas Reading Possibilities video. In honor of the 12 days of Christmas, I am choosing 12 books to put on my TBR list. I've got my basket of books all set up over here, so I'm just gonna dive right in. So the first category comes with a caveat, which is I do not typically read romance novels. There are a couple times a year that I gravitate towards them, and Christmas is one of those seasons. So I have two physical books on my TBR for Christmas romance. The first one is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. This, as I read the synopsis, it really reminds me of a Hallmark movie, maybe more than one, that I've seen. And you basically have two sisters. I think they're bakers. One of them is on a television show as a chef, and one of them I think owns a bakery. And the sister who is on the television show ends up having some sort of accident where she loses her sense of taste and smell, I think. And so she's pretty well certain that her career is going to go down the tubes. And so she convinces her sister to switch with her. So she, the girl who had the accident, will run the bakery, and the girl who runs the bakery, whose taste and sense of smell are fine, will be on the television show. And I think there's some hijinks that ensue with the romantic interests. Again, I think I saw a Hallmark movie with this exact same plot, but it doesn't bother me. I think the thing that really interested me about this is the cover. I just think it looks very festive and lovely with that book of the month dusk jacket. So I am looking forward to diving into that. This is just a quick, fluffy read for me. And then next, I am going to try A Season for Second Chances by Jenny Blayless. This is the story of Annie Sharp. She, I believe, runs a restaurant with her husband, Max. One night she returns to the restaurant because she forgot something, and she discovers that her husband Max is choosing infidelity over their marriage. And this is the last straw for her. And so she agrees to be a winter guardian at a historic home. She just kind of packs everything up and is going to take care of this home. And it looks like it's on the shore, but it is in winter. Obviously, with the second chances idea, this is when she actually finds a man who is worthy of her love. So this doesn't have reviews that talk about being really sweet and heartwarming like The Holiday Swap. So there might be a little bit of like a modern bite to this, but I'm certainly willing to give this one a try and see if I like it. Okay, next I am going to share on my Kindle what I'm reading, because that is also a romance. I have The Hope of Christmas by Jess Hansen. This is the story of Sadie Lynn. She has inherited her grandmother's bookshop. I think her grandmother has passed away. So she's come back home to her hometown, this small town, and she, I think, is a 40-year-old main character, which I really love, having those, middle-aged characters. And there obviously is a love interest. I think it was like her high school crush. This is a closed-door romance. The subtitle actually has like a sweet Christmas story in it, and it was part of a closed-door romance sale that they had on Kindle last year. So what you can do if you're interested in closed-door romances is follow Instagram accounts where they will post sweet, wholesome closed-door romances, and they will alert you to a sale. You do have to do research. I mean, when I go through it, I actually will research, does this seem like a book that has good ratings and is a plot that I'm interested in? But The Hope of Christmas is one that I had last year and didn't get to. And so I'm really hoping, in this effort to kind of pare down my TBR, and that includes my e-reader, that I will get to this Christmas. The last book that I have on my Christmas romance TBR list is Christmas at Hollybush Farm by Jo Thomas. I got this on Libro FM, and it came out in October. And in this, we follow a young woman who is going back home for Christmas to visit with her family and her father and to see everybody. But when she arrives there with her boyfriend, her father's not there to greet her, and it just seems like things are off. And so it turns out she has to rush her father to the hospital. And when she returns back to the farm, she leaves him there, but she's got to come back to take care of things. She discovers that things have really been run down, and her father has not shared that with her. I think it increasingly becomes obvious that the boyfriend that she brought home really doesn't fit in on the farm life, but she feels compelled and like she has a responsibility to her dad and the farm to get it back and up running and taken care of. And I think there is a love interest of a cricket player who, you know, maybe is like had an injury or something, and so he can't play, so he's back in the hometown, something like that. So again, really kind of this Hallmark movie vibe in a book. Okay, so that is it, I think, for like your standard romances. Next, I'm going to share books that I would say are like in a vintage category. So we'll start with a time period that is the most recent, and that is No Holly for Miss Quinn by Miss Reed. My understanding is Miss Reed's Christmas books can all be read as standalones. So this one is set in Fairacre. You supposedly see characters that you recognize from the Fairacre community in her other books, in her series, but there is nothing that is spoiled. In this, we follow Miss Quinn. She ends up in a situation where she is having to take care of children over Christmas. I think it's her nieces and nephews. And originally she does this begrudgingly. She's not really into it. But as time goes on, she just really feels and sees the joy that the children have brought into the Christmas season. And so I think she starts to feel really guilty that she even begrudged them being involved in her life at Christmas. I do think that there is also a little bit of romance, but it is a very short novella. And I have had this on my TBR for a long time, but I just got this beautiful copy. And so I figured that that means that this is the year that I am going to crack this open. So I am looking forward to reading this lovely book. I think it can be read in a night. So maybe, you know, by the light of the Christmas tree in one of the 12 days of Christmas, I can pick that up. And then I also got Kate Douglas Wiggins' The Old Peabody Pew. Kate Douglas Wiggin is the author of Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, which I love as a Rebecca and even just as a reader. And I have been enjoying reading more of Kate Douglas Wiggins in the last couple of years. I think this is just such a lovely copy. We've got these decorated pages. In this, we have a church in need of repair, hence the pew. And then for the Peabody pew, that is the pew of a young man who I think was a beau of our main character, but he left in some maybe shame, like he had done something and was just ashamed of himself and left. But he has now returned and is looking for sort of forgiveness and redemption, and rekindles the romance with our main character. Last year I read The Romance of the Christmas Card by Kate Douglas Wiggin and really loved it, and there absolutely is a theme here in forgiveness and redemption, and so I can expect that to continue in this. And then I have put Marmee, A Novel of Little Women by Sarah Miller into the vintage category simply because this is written from Marmee's perspective throughout the Little Women books. So this is her diary entries. It actually starts at Christmas Eve. And so that was the reason why I thought I would pick it up. Plus it has this beautiful winter view of the orchard house. Just so lovely. This just follows the timeline of Little Women and Good Wives, and we get Marmee's perspective on this. And my understanding is Sarah Miller did a fantastic job in making this historically accurate. She also blended not only Little Women, but Louisa May Alcott's family of origins history. And so more about her mother and the name choices that she made based on Louisa May Alcott's real life. Next, I have had this on my TBR earlier this year, and that is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This was an anticipated release for me, and I am just so excited to read this. And I decided that with the cover, I feel like that could be a Christmas cover. It's got, I know, a little bit of floral in it, but I'm gonna go with that's a Christmas cover. So this is an adult fantasy novel. I have read all of Rebecca Ross's works and have loved all of them. I feel like they are very different from one another. So if you have read one Rebecca Ross, you really should read other ones. The Elements of Cadence duology is my favorite. I am excited for this one. It is set in the world of divine rivals. And so we have this world where we have gods. Think Greek mythology adjacent. And we are following Matilda, and she is like a messenger god, basically. I think she has pockets where she's able to like put things in and travels pretty freely among the mortals world versus the world of the gods. And we also have Vincent. He is a human. He has the ability somehow to see Matilda in his dreams. And then one day they actually meet in person. And so I think that this is not only their love story, but also just a beautiful world building story of, I think, political secrets among all of the gods. So it is quite, it's 500 pages, so it's quite the chunker, but I do really want to get to this before the end of the year, and so this will be a Christmas season read for me. And then lastly, I have murder mysteries. What better way to celebrate Christmas than with murder mysteries? So for the Cozy Reader Book Club, I have Murder at Northanger Abbey. This is a sequel to Jane Austen's spoof on the Gothic novel. This is by Shannon Winslow. And I believe from just looking at this that this has been indie published, which I really love, supporting indie publishers and authors who publish that way. So it gets good reviews. So I am hopeful for this. It does spoil Northanger Abbey. So I know we have a few Cozy Reader Book Club members who have not read Northanger Abbey and who are reading it right now to be able to kind of jump right into Catherine's story in this book. So we will see if this is as wonderful as I am hoping that it is. We did choose this because this December is the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth. So that is why we chose this Jane Austen kind of adjacent spoof novel. Another Jane Austen-esque book that I have for December is Miss Austen Investigates the Hapless Milliner by Jessica Bull. And in addition to the anniversary of Jane Austen being in December, this one actually starts in December. So I thought that this would be, I like to read seasonally. I would not be happy in June to pick this up and see that it started in December. I feel like if it starts in December, you should try to read it in those colder months, because you've got descriptions like, her feet are cold and damp is seeping through her shell pink silk slippers. Her breath turns to steam. The bare branches of a laburnum reach out like the bony arms of a great skeleton, but she races on regardless. So we've got these descriptions of tree branches being like bones, and to me that is a winter description, and I want to be fully settled in winter when I read something like that. So I am hoping to get to this this month as well. And then I also want to read Aunt Dimity's Christmas by Nancy Atherton. So I read Aunt Dimity's series all over the place. I've read some that are much further along. This one is only, I think, the third or fourth. I do think you should read the first book, which is Aunt Dimity's Death, to kind of understand the lay of the land. But after that, I think you could probably jump in pretty easily into here. You're not actually missing a lot, because the second book in the series really doesn't even follow the main character that we follow throughout the rest of the series for the most part. Like I said, I have jumped all over the series, so I know what happens further along in her life as far as romance and other things. So to me, it's not something important that I follow along in the series, but I have not read the Christmas one, so I wanted to pick that up. It's not very thick, so it should be a pretty easy pickup, and this is just a very comforting, cozy mystery. It's not like super intense. the setting I think is really wonderful in England, and so I'm excited to go to England and have a little gentle mystery to solve. Another Christmas mystery on my reading possibilities list is The Secret Christmas Library by Jenny Colgan. This is more of a puzzle mystery than a murder mystery. I picked this up on a recent book shopping trip up into central New York, and I am really looking forward to jumping into this mystery. This is the story of Mirren Sutherland. She is a basically artifacts finder, and she has been hired by a young man who has inherited a Scottish estate to help find a book that will hopefully be worth so much money that he will be able to save his failing estate. He has inherited it. It's one of these beautiful castles, but it is run down. They don't have enough money to even turn on the electricity. And so he's really looking for a windfall. She also has a former love interest, Theo, who has been invited to the Scottish castle as well. This is set over Christmas. We've got snowstorms and a castle in the Scottish Highlands, and it just seems like the perfect Christmas read, and I'm excited to pick this mystery up as well. All right, so there you go. Those are the 12 books that I am hoping to get to in the month of December. Who knows? I might get to all of them. I might get to only some of them. Some of them might be DNFs. I have been trying to be a little bit more ruthless and intentional about the books that I am deciding I'm not going to continue. So there might be some DNFs in here. I also always like to leave room for mood reading, something that, maybe I get some books for Christmas that I want to actually put in the rotation instead. But again, in an effort to keep my TBR piles from getting too overwhelming, I am trying to make sure that I am reading the books that I am currently holding on to decide if they deserve a place on my shelf or not. So let me know what you are reading for this Christmas season. I would love to know. And thanks so much for watching, and until next time. Hi, I know you're hungry, but it's not quite time for supper. So we're not doing that right now, okay? Good girl. Come here. Oh, did you have fun playing ball?